morning, everyone, depending on where you are joining us from. Welcome to second for today's session of Summer RTsim.Bootcamp. I'm sure that you will still remain as much active and involved as you were in our previous session. Once again, for those who just joined us, my name is Alina, and I will be today your host and moderator for our session. And today we're going to discuss an important question. How can student leadership be our session is titled From Student Leader to Young Professional, Drilling New Paths in Energy. I guess the name of a session and the title of a session giving it all, giving the vibe and motivation already. And I'm sure that this session is going to be especially valuable for engineering students, for early career professionals, for young women entering to the energy sector, and active members of SP, IK, and other student organizations. I know we have a lot of as our participants, guys. So once again, before we start, I would like to share a few brief guidelines. If you have any questions during a meeting, please use our chat. If you want to ask a question personally, please raise your hand. In Google Meet, there is such a function. And if you have an opportunity while asking question, you can briefly introduce yourself, so your name and what you basically do, so but our speaker will have an understanding with who he or she talking. Sorry. Second session, my brain is already also a little bit going. And it's now my great pleasure to introduce our speaker, Yasmin. She's a business development executive at FTech Energy Solutions and one of Malaysia's active young leaders within the Society of Petroleum Engineers, or SPE, how we used to call it, during the 2023-2024 term. She served as president of the SPE University Technology Petronas student chapter. Today, she continues from 2023 to 2025, Yasmin also served as president of the SPE Kuala Lumpur Section Student Council. And today she continues to support the SPE community as a publicity and marketing committee member of SPE Kuala Lumpur Young Professionals for 2026. And we RTsim really trying at least to work closely with these chapters. So I'm really sure that this session is going to be super involving and super interesting. And also Yasmin has been recognized with the Student Leadership Award. So she has something to tell to you. Prepare your questions. In the end of the session, we're going to have some time to answer and ask some questions. So yeah, Yasmin, the floor is yours. I'm right now closing my presentation sharing, and please, you can start.
Okay, wait. Thank you so much, Alina. Just give me a few seconds.
Yes, sure. Send some reactions, guys, to support our speaker.
Yeah. Alright, before I start, can you see my screen? And then am I audible?
Everything is good. We can see the screen, we can see you, and we can hear you well. Everything is okay.
Thank you so much. So, hi guys, how's everyone doing? I hope you guys have been enjoying the bootcamp so far. It has been a hectic week for me. It has been a very busy week. I just came back from work actually. So before I start, I would like to thank you so much to Alina and the organizing committee for inviting me. I am really happy to be here. I love to share my experience with you guys. And for those who don't know me, I am Yasmin Zalikha, but everyone calls me by the name Amy. So feel free to do so. And okay, I think this will be a very casual session where usually for this type of event, when you are invited to speak at event like this, people probably come out with people probably expect you to speak about career advice, how to become a successful engineer, or maybe share some secret formula on getting your dream job. But I wish I had one. But something that I will share today is something a bit more personal, in which that I will share to you about a decision that I made when I was 18 years old, in which that back then that decision was not like a big deal. I don't think it was one of those decisions that I made without thinking too much about it. But looking back at it now, I can say that that decision completely changed my life. Because if I had not made that decision, I don't think that I'll be here speaking with you guys today. So that is the story that I want to share with you guys. And hopefully, by the end of this session, if there is an opportunity coming to your way, even though it feels scary or you are not ready for it, I hope that you would think twice before saying no. Because sometimes that one small yes can take you somewhere that you can never imagine. So I hope that is the main takeaway, that you would do that. Now, I will share a bit about me as per energy solutions, where I work closely with clients in the energy industry to identify digitalization opportunities and also technology solution. And for my education background, I graduated from University Technology Petronas with a bachelor degree in petroleum engineering. Student council, in which that I had the opportunities to work with student chapters from all across Malaysia. And today I am still actively involved with SPE through the SPE Kuala Lumpur Young Professional Committee as the publicity and marketing committee. But honestly, let me tell you that none of this title that you see here were ever part of my original plan. Just because of that one yes. So I will take you to how my SPE journey started. So I joined SPE when I was 18, which is during my very first semester of foundation. And honestly, I had no idea what I was doing. I wasn't even sure if petroleum engineering was the right path for me. To be frank with you, I didn't even know what engineers did in the real world, because everything I knew came from lectures or textbook. So I thought by joining SPE, it would actually help me to understand how in the industry is actually like. And that was it. I wasn't even thinking about becoming a leader or even building my network. That was never my plan. So my end goal at the time is that I just wanted to learn more. But looking back at that one decision, it changed everything for my life. For me, SPE has become so much more than just a student organization. It's where I built my confidence. I met my lifelong friends. I gained mentors, attended conferences, and eventually found my career opportunities. And the picture on the left on the slide, and that is where it all began. So this was taken during the SPE Kuala Lumpur AGM in 2021. Like I said, I was 18 and it was my very first SPE event. So I remember walking into that room and thinking, I don't know anyone there. I was supposed to go with my friend, but he decided to cancel on me last minute. So I went there alone with no friends. I don't know anyone there. And there were professional, students from different universities, and people who all seemed so experienced. And then there was me, a first year student with no leadership experience, who had never organized any event. And because of the pandemic, I barely know anyone in the SPE. So I was just sitting there, taking everything in. But I remember having that one thought in which I said in my heart that one day I want to become the president of SPUTP. That was my first goal. And I never told anyone that because honestly, it felt like such a big dream. I had no idea how I was going to get there. But that day, it taught me something that I'll never forget. Because sometimes all it takes is one event, one conversations, or one opportunity to completely change the direction of your life. And after that, I started saying yes more often. So I volunteered whenever I could. I joined programs. I attended industry events. I spoke to seniors. I asked questions. And little by little, I became more confident. I wasn't trying to become the president over the night. I was just trying to make the most of every opportunity that came to my way. And then 1 year later, somehow, that dream became a reality. So I was elected as the president of SPE-UTP student chapter. And honestly, even now, it still feels a little surreal to me. Because a year earlier, I was sitting quietly at my very first AGM, not knowing anyone in the room. And now I am leading my own student chapter. And to be honest, becoming president, it wasn't just about having that title. My team members of around 120 active members, working with committee members, organizing programs, building relationship with our industry partners, looking for sponsors, and making sure that our members genuinely benefited from being part of SPE. So, as usual, there were always definitely challenges along the way. Some event went well, but some didn't go as planned. But I think every experience taught me something. Because looking back, I think SPE doesn't just make me a better engineering student, but overall it made me a better leader because it taught me how to communicate with different people, work through challenges, and make decisions better under pressure. And most importantly is how to lead a team toward the same goal. And I think that is when I started to realize something, that leadership isn't something that you are born with. Sometimes it begins with sitting in the audience, somewhere in the audience, and looking at someone in the stage and quietly thinking that one day I want to be up there too. And that is what it meant for me. And as you can see here, so these are some of the events that we have conducted during my term. So looking at this picture, it might look like we were just organizing events. But behind every event, there was so much more happening. There were sponsorship discussions, budget plannings, communication with companies, coordinating committees, and solving problems when things didn't go accordingly to what you planned. And most importantly is learning how to handle different opinions within a team. I think that is the most challenging part during my time. And honestly, during those moments, it taught me a lesson that no classroom could ever taught me. Simply by just being in SPE. Because while I was studying petroleum engineering, SPE taught me something else. It taught me how to work with people, how to lead a team, and how to stay calm even when challenges came along. And looking back at it now, I realized that I wasn't just preparing myself to become an engineer, but I was also learning how to become a better leader. Now moving on, after 6 months of becoming the president of SPE-UTP, another opportunity came. I was elected as the president of the SPE Kuala Lumpur Section Student Council. And suddenly the scale became completely different. Because before this, I was only leading within one university. Right now, I am working with 9 different universities across Malaysia. And honestly, I think that came with a whole new set of challenges because everyone has different way of working, different university cultures, different perspective, different ideas on how things should be done. But most importantly, together we work toward the same goal, in which that we wanted to create more opportunities for the student, connecting them with industry professional, and also strengthening the SPE community. Um, During my time in SPE KL, I think leadership isn't just about leading people who think the same way as you, but it's about learning how to bring different people together, understand different perspectives, and move forward as a team. And that is exactly what happened in the real workplace. So being in SPE has shaped me on how to actually transition in the real world. And then after graduating, I realized that I wasn't ready to say goodbye to SPE just yet because for me, SPE was never just an university activity. I think it has become such an important part of my life, part of my journey, that I wanted to continue being involved, but just in a different way. And I think that is why I joined SPE Kuala Lumpur Young Professional. People see graduations as the end of their learning journey. But for me, I think I see it differently. I think graduation is when the real learning begins. And through SPE KL, I still get the opportunities to learn from experienced professionals, connect with mentors, share our experience, meet with different people and different part of the industry. And most importantly, I am able to give back to the students who are just starting their journey. Because I understand, because I was one, that student, sitting in my very first SPE event, not knowing anyone, and trying to figure things out. So now, when I got the chance, when I have the opportunity to be that person for someone else, I definitely have to take it. So here are some of the events that I went to. So just a sharing. When you are a part of any organization such as SPE, ICAMI, or IMECI, the conferences, any conferences, technical talk, workshop are all complimentary to students. And also for SPE, I'm not quite sure for any other organization, but for SPE, even after your graduation, you would have a 1-year free SPE membership. So it will still be a complimentary, but I think you would have more benefit compared to how you were as a student. So people often ask me, so like, Amy, why do you always go to conferences? So my answers are very simple. For me, conferences are not just about you go to the conference and then you sit in the room and then you listen to the technical presentation. It's not just about that. I think the biggest value coming from the people that you meet there, the connection that you build during the conferences, the conversation that you have, the connection you build, and also, most importantly, is the perspective that you gain. Like, for example, this was during OTC Asia. So, OTC Asia was actually one of my very first international conference. As you can see, the first 3 pictures, that was me during my very first conferences. I was 19 at that time. So I still remember that when I walk into the venue, I feel a little intimidated because everyone seems so experienced. Like they would know what the other person are talking about. But I'm just a student. So I don't have that level of knowledge that they have at the moment. But like I say, but it changed my perspective on another thing. This professional expert, technical expert, industry professional, and the people in the industry, they were actually approachable. But during my time there, I actually remember thinking, do I even belong here? But then when I start talking to these people, I realized something, that they are actually very approachable. They were willing to share their experience, answer the question, and most importantly that I appreciate is that they would want to have genuine conversation with students like me. Fun fact, I actually learn more by going to the conferences compared by studying in the classroom. And I hope you know that sometimes the biggest barrier is not whether people are willing to connect with you, but it's about whether you are willing to take that very first step. But give it a shot, guys. I think you will like it. Now, for importance of connection, mentorship, and community. If you look closely at these pictures, I think you will notice that every picture represents someone who has played a part in my journey. And I think that is something I truly believe in, because none of us could get to where we are alone. I don't think so. Behind every person who grows and succeeds, there will always be people who supported them along the way. You will need a mentor. You will need someone to guide you. Mentors who shared their experience. People who gave us opportunities. People who guided us when we were unsure. And sometimes, people will believe in us before we even believe in ourselves. So, if there is one thing that I hope you take away from this, it would be, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to start conversations, because most professionals are genuinely happy to share their knowledge and also help students who are willing to learn. Because I was one, that student who didn't know anyone in that room. But by simply being curious and taking the first step, I met people who actually became an important part of my journey. And as a young woman in engineering, I won't pretend that I have always felt confident. There were definitely moments where I questioned myself, where I wondered, am I good enough? Do I have enough experience? Am I too young to take on this responsibility? And will people take me seriously? I have the least knowledge. Those questions doesn't completely disappear. Even up until today, there are still moments where I doubt myself. But what I've learned is confidence doesn't always come before you take the very first step. And sometimes confidence is built because you took that first step, where you will learn, you will grow, and you prove to yourself that you are capable. And when I look back at my journey, where I became the first female president of SPETP, and later I became the first female of SPE Kuala Lumpur Section Student Council, I don't see it as proving that women are simply better than men. No, I see it as proving that leadership is not defined by gender. It's defined by your willingness to step forward, take responsibility, and create an impact. So if you are waiting until you feel completely ready, I want you to remember this. You probably never will. Sometime you just have to start somewhere, someday. And now, remember when I told you I joined SPE when I was 18? I want you to imagine if I made a different choice. If I had told myself, I am too shy, maybe I'll join next year, I don't have enough time, I don't think leadership is, what would have happened? And honestly, none of this would happen. I wouldn't have met people who shaped my journey. I wouldn't have gained experience that helped me grow. And definitely, I wouldn't be standing here sharing this story with all of you. And that is something I've learned along the way, that most opportunities don't come when you feel completely ready. They come when you feel a little nervous, a little uncertain, and a little outside your comfort zone. And that is okay, because growth doesn't happen when everything feels easy. Growth happens when you decide to take that first step anyway. So it's okay to be uncomfortable, to feel uncertain, to feel nervous. Before I end today, I want to leave all of you with one thing. I want you to know that your career won't be built by waiting for the perfect moment. It will be built by showing up, by being curious, by asking questions, by meeting people, by taking opportunities, even when you don't feel completely ready. Because looking back at my own journey, everything started with that one small yes when I was 18 years old. I didn't even know how it would take me. I didn't even know where it would lead me. I didn't even know I would become the president of SPETP. I didn't even know I would have the opportunity to lead SPKL Student Council. And I didn't even know I would be sharing my story here today. But I showed up, I kept learning, and I kept saying yes. And that is what I believe today. That success doesn't always belong to the person who is most talented or the most experienced. Sometimes it belongs to the person who keeps showing up, keep learning, and never stop trying. So don't wait until you feel ready. Take that first step. Say yes to opportunities that challenge you, because you never know where that one decision might take you. Thank you, and I hope to see many of you becoming the future leaders of the industry. That will be all for my sharing. Thank you, everyone. I hope my journey has showed you that sometimes one small decision can open doors you never expected. And I will now open the floor for any question. I'll be happy to hear your thoughts or share more about my experience.
Presentation. Personally, I myself, I already finished university a couple years ago. I would like right now to enter university to become an SP president and to take this floor right now. It really bunch of motivation. Thank you so much. Dear participants, right now you can use our chat to ask some questions. There is one already, but sorry, I will take my preference as being able to talk here and as a moderator, because I also have one kind of personal question, because dear Amy, you mentioned that you a lot of times visited different conferences, and you did these small talks, and a lot of connections you get from these conferences. And my question will be this. So practical, super practical advices. How you coming first to people? With which question? Maybe you have some some tips. For example, you coming to them with a compliment, or maybe before the conference you checking the list of the guests and what are they doing in general in their life, and you already know some information about them, and you can come. I will explain you why I'm asking this question, because of work. I also have to participate in some conferences, and when it's online, it's a lot easy. You can see like I'm a chatterboxer here, but when it's coming to offline, it was really hard for me to start with conversations, and I guess for most of us here, especially for our participants, because we're hearing from everyone like talk, conference is the place where you will take this network, do this. But when it's coming to a real situation and you're coming to a person, you think you would like to talk, but you don't know how to come to. Maybe you have some advices. Yeah.
Okay, for me, I have been to different conferences. Like example, OTC Asia. OTC Asia is basically a conferences, or I've been to a technology summit. So you have to know the difference of all of these events. So Oil and Gas Asia. So for OTC Asia is mainly for operators company along with the services company. But for Oil and Gas Asia, it will be mainly services company that wanted to showcase their product. So that is how I actually differentiate on how the way I approach people. Like for example, if I am going, and also this also apply to for you to apply for your job. Like I would not apply during Oil and Gas Asia because that is where mainly the businesses are trying to sell their products. But it's different with conferences. They are willing to accept your resume. If you were looking for a job, you can go to their booth. And then, okay, for students, I would suggest you to have a name card. Before I have any position, I have my own name card where I have put my name, my contact numbers, and I put it as petroleum engineering graduate. So the reason why we have the name card is because we wanted to make an impression to someone. Even though you are students, at that time I didn't have any position in my organization. But once I have my positions, I use my name card to actually went up to someone to actually introduce myself, and then I would actually survey their booth, and then maybe ask them question that is related to their products, to their businesses. Just engage. All you need is just one person to be interested with you. And I can assure you that the connection will always be there. Maybe for the first conferences that you've been to, you don't know anyone. That is what happened to me. Like, there were a lot more pictures of me. But if I can show you, these are the friends that I made during my by going to the conferences. Like the people that I met during the first year, I don't even know them. But when I keep going to the same conferences, we eventually became friends because they have seen me, they have talked to me. So that is how I leave an impression to them. I hope that answers your question also, Alina.
Yes, thank you
I
so
would
much.
actually, what I would do is I would show that I am interested to their booth. Then only I would actually ask whether I have any question.
Their product, and they want to sell their product. And first of all, as a student, for example, and you want to work in this company in future, you coming, and in the beginning you asking them about what they're doing, in general, what is their product, and after that slightly taking the conversation to your CV or something like this.
Yes, if you are looking for a job, what you can do is you should connect with the recruiter itself. You should connect with the recruiter itself. And also, you definitely need to have some kind of identifying skill. You definitely need to know who you need to approach. If you are looking for a job, maybe you can go to the booth. There will be a counter for you to ask about the information. Just say to them that, would it be possible for me to talk to the recruiter? But you can't simply go to the recruiter and say, I would like a job here. No, I wouldn't suggest that. What you should do is that you should introduce yourself, where you are coming from, and maybe a little bit background on how you can connect. You should highlight about the value that you can bring to the company, and that should differ you between you and the rest of the people.
Thank you
trust
so
me,
much.
the job that I have right now, I did not even apply for it. The recruiter reached out to me simply because he saw me at the conference 2 years ago.
Congratulations, really, that's wonderful experience and really practically showing why you should join different events, why you should go to the conferences. And Amy mentioned really important point here. Don't directly ask for work, because personally I every day getting this message like, I want an internship, can you get me one? No. If you're suggesting me something like this, no. In the beginning, introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? Why we should, for example, why RTsim should invite you to an internship, what you can do, how you can be useful. And this is really important, guys. Remember this. And dear Amy, we have different questions in chat also. If you can open the chat.
Okay. For Denise, thank you for your question. With which university do you work now? I am not working with any universities. I have just recently graduated. I am currently working with a service company. Mainly, I'm doing business development, where I have to find business opportunities. I working closely with clients. But for my background, I was from UTP, University Technology Petronas. I did my Bachelor of Engineering degree there, and my academic project storage, field development projects, and also about nodal analysis. And thank you for your question. Aside from conferences, where are other places or platform to connect with people? I would say LinkedIn. What you think? I know it's cringing. I know you feel shy to do it. I was once shy because I feel like most people my age doesn't even post as much as I post. Sometimes we have this urge of like feeling lazy to post something, but we have done something. It's not that we didn't do anything, but one thing that can actually help you to build your reputation is actually building your connections, which is one of the most important thing is LinkedIn. Because you would know who you should approach. Let's say you want to go to this certain company. You can find the people there, the people in the organization. So you would know who to approach. If let's say you were requesting for an internship, you would know how to do that. And simply by posting, by connecting with people, they would be able to see you. Like I said, the job that I gotten now is simply through LinkedIn. Sometimes you don't have to apply for a job. Sometimes you feel like, I don't think I am being visible to anyone. But no, just do it, and then just keep posting. At first, I think during my very first post, I don't have that many likes also. But when people come or you are conducting an event that might be beneficial to someone, it would actually help you a lot. And also, another thing is that what I did was I actually organized networking events where I connect students with the professional, do some sharing session between the mentors and then the mentors would actually share a link for them to submit their resume. So that is also one of the platform if you are looking for. And also you can go to career fair. Career fair would be useful as well, but the competition is very high. So the most important thing is be different, be special. So you have something to highlight about you. So that instead of you approaching people will start approaching you instead. So I hope that answers your question.
I hope, yeah. Thank you so much. And I also wanted to ask you about LinkedIn. So, for example, practical question: what do you suggest to post about? So, for example, we know all that LinkedIn is not Instagram, and you will not post just your breakfast or something like this. So, what do you suggest to post about? Some conferences, events, maybe, but except conferences and events, maybe some theoretical knowledge or maybe something else which can come to your mind. For example, to make your profile a little bit more special, as you mentioned, because everyone attending conferences in LinkedIn, plenty of this type of posts, how to make it more special. For example, your way, how you doing it more special.
Okay, another tips for going to conferences. Let's say, okay, for me, usually, if the conferences is 3 days duration, I would go to those 3 days. To all those 3 days. So the first day, what I would do is that I would try to aim for certain companies, that I want to make connection with. Then I would post on my LinkedIn that I have been to the conference. So once, and most importantly is exchange card with them. Try to connect with them on LinkedIn. Or if you have not connect with them, the moment you post something on your LinkedIn, because they are attending the same conference, they would actually see you posting them. So they would connect with you because they have talked to you. And that is how you build your connection. And another thing is, you just have to, you cannot have like a template of speaking to people. You have to know what interests them. If they are a reservoir engineer, you need to know whether you need to talk with them about reservoir management plan or surveillance monitoring plan. You need to know what exactly that might interest him into talking to you. That is how. And also, like I said, you don't go simply to that person by stating your true reason. It is good, it's very clear, it's very direct, but there will be 100 students going to them saying the same thing. So you have to be different. Maybe you can bring your resume, and then maybe you can talk to him on how you can improve your resume, on how you can actually improve your, it goes the same for business as well. You can actually connect with the same people from the same industry, or like from the same business background. You guys can actually share ideas, and that is how you build. For me, the way I build my connection is not just through like very professional, that eventually they will become my friends. So my main goal is that I want to build a lifelong friendship in which that I would be able to reach out to them whether I wanted some advice. The same goes for other people. I wanted to make them feel comfortable with me. So talking about being different, I think it differs for different people. Maybe it can be your appearance. And for me, I think appearance plays a very important part as well by going to conferences. If you wear like a fully formal clothes, it would be even better because it shows that you are really ready, or I'm not sure how to put it, but it shows that it just gives the very good impression about you.
Thank you so much. Really, I guess it was super important. Dear participants, I hope you made some notes because these are the advices which can really make it for you. They can take you to the first offer and to your first job, maybe, who knows? So, Amy, thank you so much once again for this amazing lecture. It was wonderful. I have some little more questions, but it's the time. I will not make you load it more. So if something, I will use the fact that we already are connections in LinkedIn and write you personally. Yeah. So I guess, dear participants, also try to find Amy. Maybe she will be your first connection. And what I would like to mention in this bootcamp, in RTsim Bootcamp, we also giving you some additional points for posting anything in your LinkedIn about the camp. This is